Spell it.
Nibir.
Nibir. Shiv. Harish. Riddhi. Okay, good. You are the second Riddhi that I know. We have one other Riddhi in our community. Umakant. I know Umakant. I'm asking him to say the name for all of you. Harita. Wonderful. My name is Ghanashyam. That's my name. Gana means cloud and Sham means dark. So my full name is Ghanashyam Govinda Das. I'm servant of that Krishna whose complexion is like that of a dark rainy cloud. Last week we discussed on Bhagavad Gita. We learned about the very first lesson. The first lesson is we are not the body, we are the soul. So just to give you a background, in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna, before the start of the Kurukshetra war, at that time, he tells, or rather Arjuna, he tells to Krishna that he doesn't want to fight. And the reason he gives why he doesn't want to fight is because he says, the people who I'm going to fight, they're all my relatives, so I'm not interested in killing them just to enjoy this kingdom. So I'm happy to just let go. But Krishna then gives the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita and then convinces Arjuna that he has to come do his duty. And then in the process of doing so, Krishna teaches him different lessons. He gives the wisdom at different levels. But today we are going to just touch on the very first lesson, which we discussed last week, and I'm going to move to the second lesson. Okay, so even if you're asleep, I'm talking to online also, even if you're asleep last week, don't worry. If you focus just on next to 5 minutes, you will understand what you actually discussed the previous week. So the very first lesson Krishna tells to Arjuna is, you are not this body, but you are spirit, soul. In Sanskrit, the word Atma is used. Atma means soul. What's the proof that we are not this body? I'm 44 years old. That used to be a time when I used to be like a little baby. How many of you have seen the photos of you as a tiny little baby? Do you have that framed in your home? We still have. Even like when you look at your photo, you're like, wow, I look so cute. We feel like that, right? So at some point I was like that, then I was crawling, then I was walking like a toddler. Then time actually rolled on and I evolved. I started to grow. I was a teenager. Then I remember in early 20s and then 30s and now 40s. Now I'm feeling more on the other side of 50 already. Okay, so we have changed. Rather, our body has changed. Time has rolled by. Even though our body has changed, we still feel the same person that we are, correct? We still feel like, I'm feeling young. Our body may say something different, but we feel that we are still young. When you look in the mirror, you see your first gray hair and you think like, hey, but I'm still young. Understand? So we still feel the same personality that we were right from childhood till now. However, our external keeps on changing. Okay, if I ask you, some of you had put your hand up when I asked, have you seen the photo of your smaller version? What happened to that body? We didn't die, we are still here now, but the body is gone already. Understand? I used to have small body at one point. I used to be this tall, and now I'm this tall. But then even at this height, I have evolved also over a period of time. So Krishna uses this logic to drive home the point. Just like in this life itself, our body has changed. That means it can't be us. Why? Because we still feel the same person that we are. Understand? It's not like you sleep and you wake up, I'm 21 today, I feel different today. We don't feel different. It's the same. Okay, when you wake up, first thing, especially on a Monday morning, what is the first thought that comes? What day is today? And then next you think, do I really need to go to work? Is there any way for me to call sick? You get like trillion ideas like that when you actually wake up. So body keeps changing, but the personality that we are doesn't change. So Krishna uses this logic to tell Arjuna that you are not this body, even though your body at different stages has grown considerably. Even though the body externals has actually changed, the personality that we are doesn't change, and that personality is what Krishna calls as soul. That soul, if I ask you to point, some part of yourself to say, if I ask you, let's say you are in a group, and if somebody asked, whose name is Harish? And you are told not to put your hand up. You have to still point at yourself. Where will you point at yourself? Will you say, this is Harish? Will you say this? How will you say? Normally. You see, hand naturally goes where? Here, correct? Intuitively, we all know. You might have seen in movies, the boy proposing to a girl, like this they say. They never say like this. It has a different meaning, agree? They never say this. They only say here, because intuitively we all know, we feel more connected here. We feel as if we live there, and that intuition is correct. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, our soul lives in the heart. Hriddeshe Arjuna. Krishna says, our soul resides in the region of the heart. That's what it means. Understand? So the soul's dimension is also given. If you take a hair, I don't have much, I don't have any, sorry. You take a hair, tip of the hair, cut it into 10,000 pieces. You take a tip of the hair, cut it into 10,000 pieces. One such piece is the dimension of the soul. That's how tiny the soul is. It's a tiny, tiny spark. That's the spirit soul. There is no death, there is no birth for it, there is no growth for it. It always remains eternal, fully energetic, immortal. That's the aspect of us which is immortal. Okay, so Krishna says we are not this body, rather this tiny, tiny dot that we are inside as far as this world is concerned. Now you may think, after we die, what happens to that tiny dot? I'll come to that today about karma and reincarnation. But for now, understand this much that we are not this body. Any questions so far? Clear on this point? Yeah, that we are not this body because our body keeps on changing, which means it can't be me. If I'm my body, then my little body is gone. That means I should be dead by now, but I'm still alive. I still feel the same person. In fact, I didn't even realize the transition in this body. Correct? Have you seen this? Some Facebook. Sometimes you will see the videos. Some guy takes a photo of his little kid on every birthday for the 30 years, and then they actually show like a movie, and you see the body transforming. Okay, you'll see that, right? So, but the person is still the same. Nobody has died yet, but the body alone keeps changing. So Krishna says this is the proof that we cannot be this body. Then the next question is, if we are not this body, then what are we? We are Atma. In English, it's known as soul. And where is the soul? It is in our heart. And what's the dimension of the soul? That's the dimension. Now when we die, that soul will actually have few destinations. We'll come to that shortly. But this is the very first lesson Krishna teaches to Arjuna. Now we are going to today discuss on the next concept, which is on karma and reincarnation. So for the next 3 or 4 sessions, I'll be touching on different aspects. Next week, we'll be discussing on yoga, different types of yoga, like that. The following week, we'll be discussing on the different modes, like that. So first 4-5 weeks, I'll bring you up to speed in terms of the basic ABCs of Bhagavad Gita. And then we'll go for shloka, and then we'll discuss about how that shlokas are relevant to us and how we are going to apply the knowledge or wisdom of Bhagavad Gita in our day-to-day lives. Okay? That's the plan. So today, as I said, understand this, we are not the body, but we are spirit soul. Now if we are spirit soul, what happens to us after we die? Or let me take a step back. Have you wondered why bad things happen to good people? How many of you here think you are good people? Put your hand up. You don't need to be so humble or lie. Come on, thank you. How many of you think you are bad? Wow, I know you don't mean it. But we all have this question, right? Sometimes we do something, despite our best intention, things don't go our way. We feel we are actually good, still somehow or other, as if being planned or as if being trapped by something, bad things come our way. And we are puzzled, why is this happening to me? The answer which Krishna gives is karma. What is your understanding of karma? What does karma mean? Umakant. Things that you have accumulated in the past. Harish?
Result, action.
Action, okay. Riddhi, have you come across this word, karma?
Do good, get good.
Okay, do good, get good. Good. In Bible it said, as you sow, so shall you reap. Like that. Name again. Shiv. I won't forget you. Okay. What is your understanding of karma?
Whatever deeds you have done in the past.
whatever deeds that you have done in the past. Understand? So we have a certain understanding of this word karma, and whatever you all said is correct. So what happens, the way how it works is, in this life where we actually live, whatever activities that we do, we start to accrue. It's almost like, how many of you have played like a treasure hunt in your life? You know what a treasure hunt is? How many of you have played treasure hunt in life? Okay, you go to some place, they have a clue, and then it will tell you, turn here, go there, do something, and then you'll find the next clue, next clue, next clue, like that. So if you accept your life, every day of your life is like a treasure hunt, wherein you do some action. Every action we do, it has a certain credit, certain points, for example. If you do something good, then you have good credit. And if you do something bad, you have some bad credit. Just like, they have frequent flyer points like that. Okay, or demerit points. That's a good example. Okay, so when you do something like a loyalty program, they'll give you some credit points. But then when you breach the standard, then they'll have some demerit points also for your license. You might have come across that. Hopefully not much, but yes, you understand what I mean. So likewise, karma, if you think about it, there is good karma and there is bad karma. You said harina. Harita. Harita. Give me some example of good karma.
Helping somebody.
Helping somebody. Very good. Bad karma?
Not helping.
Easy answer. Shibir, tribir. Nibir. What does nibir mean?
Means something deep.
Something deep. Okay, good. Give me some example of good and bad karma.
Doing our day-to-day activities.
Okay, doing our duty, we can say. Okay, that's good. Bad means not doing our day-to-day activity. Come on, don't say that.
It's like indiscipline.
Stealing something, saying something bad, like stealing, whatever. Understand? So they're all good and bad karmas. If you do some good activities like that, then you get credit points. If you do something bad, you get demerit points. What happens? Every activity that we do in this life, over a period of time, they accumulate. Some karma will give you the effect or consequence immediately. Shiv, give me some example of instant karma. Have you come across, YouTube shorts, reels, they say instant karma.
They're trying to be smart.
Yeah, you get outsmarted straight away. We'll come across some cricketer, showing off his skills and everything, and then next ball, he'll get out, you understand? Or somebody will go slap somebody and they say like this, somebody else will come and punch them. Instant karma. Understand? So some karma, they bring results immediately. Some karma, they bring results over a period of time only. It takes time. Daniel, can you think of some examples of a karma which accrues over a period of time and gives result only after a long time? Charity, great example. Okay, you give something to people who are needy, you may not see the effect of that immediately, correct? You do that over a period of time, sometime, some place, some circumstance, somebody will help. At that time, you can actually think back and connect, maybe this is why. Okay, some random act of kindness you will come across, like that. Likewise, bad karma also you will come across, somebody will actually steal or, plant a bomb in one place and they go on hiding. You come across, I read in a few years ago, there was one guy who was remaining elusive from police for such a long time, and finally he got caught in an airport when he went for the security check. Inside the airport they got him. And he thought I was so smart, I have actually eluded the police for so many years, close to many decades actually, 2-3 decades. But then he gets caught. Somehow you will come across people actually getting caught. So karma, it's known as infallible justice. Whatever good activities that you do, it gives you positive credits. Whatever bad activity that you do, it gives some demerit points. Some karma will give you results straight away. Some karma will actually take its time for it to fructify. Prabhupada gives a beautiful example. Has any one of you done gardening here? At least planted flowers, vegetables, anything. Spinach, if you take a handful and they look like tiny mustard seeds, very, very shiny. You take a handful and you throw them in a ground, in a fertile soil. If you see them, watch the place carefully, some will start to sprout immediately. Next 2 days, 3 days like that, you'll see it germinating, coming out. And you'll think, what about the rest? And then it will take, after a few years, suddenly something else come. You go somewhere, come back, suddenly you will see a whole, pile of things actually growing there. Understand? Prabhupada says karma is also like that. So every activity that you do, it's like sowing a seed. Some will sprout immediately, germinate immediately. Some it will take time, and some it will take more longer. Okay, sometimes what happens is, when we look around, you will see a bad guy doing only bad things. But somehow you will feel like, wow, only good things keep on coming to him. And you think, if God is there, why is he not getting punished? We think like that many times. But then as the time rolls by, time and again will actually be proven wrong, that karma is indeed true. It just was accumulating for him, and when the time is ripe, it came out. Now coming to the first question, why do bad things happen to good people? Because according to law of karma, Shiv, if I do something good, what should be the result I should be getting? Good. Riddhi, if I do something bad? Bad results I should get. You have a question. I love questions. Go on.
When we talk about good and bad karma, is it like absolute? Because maybe I'm helping somebody, but in doing so, somebody else is hurt.
I love that question. Can you please hold on to that? I'll come to that shortly, before I lose my train of thought. Very interesting question. My next question is, my first question was, if law of karma is true, if I do something good, good happens. If I do something bad, bad happens, correct? Now answer me this. Why do bad things happen to good people then? Have you come across instances, some family friends, some neighbors, they are very, very, pure, very charitable, and then suddenly, some death happens, or suddenly some accident happens, something which we think, God is very unfair. Or sometimes you will come across bad people, but somehow, they always get this windfall. They suddenly become rich, and you wonder, what is this? Is God siding with them? What is your take? Nibir, why do bad things happen to good people? No idea. I like honesty. Umakant.
Past life.
Could be past life. Correct. In our purview, in our understanding, based on whatever we have observed, we didn't see what they did in the past. I'll give you one story. How many of you have heard about Mahabharata? Karmanyeva adhikaraste. You know that? Ma phaleshu kadachana, ma karma phalahe turbur, ma te sangostya karmani. Have you watched Mahabharata? How many of you have watched that version? B.R. Chopra's. Good. We are all 90s kids, right? So, in Mahabharata, of course, there are many, many characters. One of the main characters is Dhritarashtra. Dhritarashtra had 100 sons. They are known as Kauravas. The chief of all the Kauravas was Duryodhana. So, after the war finished, at the end of Kurukshetra war, Dhritarashtra had lost all the 100 sons. Bhima had literally killed each one of them. That is one of the vows he has taken. He killed all 100. So, Dhritarashtra was feeling very, very sorry, about his son. How many of you have come across this emotion called self-pity? Why is this happening to me? Have you come across that? Why? Why anything I'm actually touching is not actually happening properly. So like that, it happens. Sometimes you laugh at yourself also. That's a different story. I used to feel like that so many times in my school days. I come from a joint family. And everyone except me, at least most of my cousins, actually all my cousins, they're all very, very studious. I have this, my pendulum will swing. Either I'll be in top 2, top 3, or I'll fail in my exam. There is no in between. So if the pendulum is actually swinging unfavorably, I'll get chastised. But not only that, what will be insulting you so much more is, they'll compare you with your cousins. Look at them, how they are actually studying. But they are only in year 2, but I'm in year 8. That doesn't matter. Look at how she's studying. So you always get that. You can relate to that. So Dhritarashtra was actually feeling so sorry, very, very morose. He asked Krishna, he says, Krishna, a father should not see the death of even one son or one of the child. Could be a daughter also. If something like that happens, it's an untimely death, correct? No parent should live to see the death of their child. In my case, I didn't see the death of one child. I saw all the 100 childs. And it's not like they died a natural death. Each one of them, literally their body got ripped apart by Bhima. Why do I need to endure this pain? What did I do to go through this horrible experience of having to experience or endure through this, the experience of losing so many sons. Krishna told him that, look, you were a hunter 100 birds before. At that time, you had killed 100 birds. And because you inflicted pain upon those 100 birds, you are actually getting punished now because of that bad karma. It accrues. Then Dhritarashtra asks the next question. Normally, if I do something in one life, either I should get result in the same life or maybe next life. Correct? He asks Krishna, why do I have to wait for 100 births to go through the pain of the karma which I did 100 births before? I should have gotten the result immediately than the next birth itself, right? Krishna gives him a very interesting answer. Krishna tells him, you see, you were a hunter at that time, and what did you kill? 100 of birds only. And the pain which you have inflicted on the parent mother bird, you need to go through the same. That's the karmic effect. But in order for you to go through, you are not a bird, unfortunately. What are you? You are a human. Now, in order for you to go through the same pain, first you need to get 100 sons. It took you 100 births to get enough punya to get those 100 sons. And okay, now you are ready and now karma will strike, so you will go through that pain. Understand? Karma is infallible justice. You understand the answer which Krishna is giving? Technically, we would think he should have gotten punished immediately in the next birth, but Krishna says, yes, but because you are in a human body, your karma is you will be born again as a human. But because even to get one son in a human body, you need to get a certain amount of pious credit, certain punya. To get 100 sons, it took you 100 births to accrue enough punya so that now you will get 100 sons. Now that you have gotten 100 sons, now your karma will kick in. In India, sometimes if people catch you, pickpocketing, robbing something, they'll catch you, tie you up and they'll beat you. Sometimes, what these people do, after they get beaten up, they feel like tired. Then what they do, they'll go get some, 7-Up, like that Sprite. They'll give you so that you'll get enough energy and they'll ask you, are you feeling good now? Yes. And they'll start beating you again. Because what's the point in beating when the person is already fainting? You understand? Karma is like that. It makes sure, did you get 100 cents? No, not yet. Okay, we'll wait. We can wait. And then it keeps on going. Did you get your 100 cents? Karma was asking Dhritarashtra. Yeah, I got my 100 cents. Okay, fair enough. Then it rolls up the sleeves and then it whacks him. Understand? So this is how he got this pain of going through this. Now, there's one other way to actually understand this also. I love this analogy. How many of you here have been to village where they grow paddy? Okay. I asked my grandfather. We come from agriculture, farming background. My father does, my grandfather has done, great-grandfather has done, and my grandfather told me, at least as far as he knows, the previous almost like 8 generations they were doing only farming. So if you go to villages, they harvest. After they take the paddy, then they'll beat it. Either they beat it physically or they'll beat it using a machine. They separate the grains, and the dry grass will actually go as a fodder for animals. Now with these grains, what they'll do is they will store in a silo. Silo means it's like a big trough. The way how they'll store is they will climb up here and they'll pour it there. And the way how we'll take the grain out is they'll actually have a vent, like a shutter. If you raise it, then it'll open. It'll pour out the grains, and then if you want to shut it, you can shut it down. Understand? So you put it here, and then you take it out here. This is how it happens. Normally when we say karma. Karma is infallible justice. You do something good, you get only good. You do something bad, you get only thing which is bad. Now, when a person is actually doing a harvest, first year, if the person gets, let's say, good grains, so he'll start to put the good grains inside. He has got good grains here. So first season finishes, next year again he tries with this cultivation. Next year he gets bad grains. Bad means not so great quality. Now he fills the rest of this silo with bad grain. Correct? First time he put good, next time he put bad. Now imagine if somebody is looking at him only on the second year. He know that he got bad harvest this year. He's pouring bad here. And now he thinks, okay, let me take something out. He opens the shutter. Guess what he'll get first? Good or bad? Good grains, correct? Because that good is coming from previous years. But if a person sees only the second year, he will think, this is very unfair. Or he will think, this is magical. He puts bad and he gets good like that. Understand? In our life also, when we see something in a very, very narrow perspective, we'll do exactly the same mistake. Now we may think, some terrorists, they are doing only bad things, but they seem to be only getting rich. No, that comes from previous harvest. Previous good karma, whatever that they have done. Converse is also true. Understand? If you understand this analogy, you will understand why bad things happen to good people. Okay, the person may be good now, but in the past they may be bad. So even though they are good now, past they may be bad, they will get bad results now. Understand? So karma is actually explained. If you take a big herd of, let's say, 10,000 cows and you let loose a baby calf, scriptures say the baby calf will not have any trouble going and finding its mother. It will never get confused. You know why this example is given? Like this, karma also acts. I'll tell you one other Puranic story. How many of you know who is Yamaraj? Riddhi, who is Yamaraj?
God of death.
Lord of death. If Yamaraj looks at you, Harita, do you think it's good news or bad news?
It depends.
Terms and conditions apply. Normally, if Yamaraj, let's say if Vishnu looks at you, you would naturally will say, comfortably you'll say, that is really good. I'll get some blessing from Balaji. If Yamaraj looks at you, is it good or bad? Most of the time it's bad. Understand? So, once Yamaraj, he goes to meet Indra in the heavens. At that time, Garuda, the big bird that carries Vishnu, he's the carrier. Garuda Airlines, I think Indonesian Airlines is Garuda Airlines, I think. So Garuda sits there and he watches. So then Yamaraj goes, but as Yamaraj goes inside, he looks at one small baby bird. And he looks at it very quizzically and then he goes in for a team meeting with Indra. Now Garuda sat here, he saw this bird, Garuda is also a bird, so same race, there is a certain feeling of compassion, sympathy. So Garuda thinks, this is my sister bird. And then he sees Yamaraj looking at the bird. That's why I asked this question, if Yamaraj is looking at someone, is it good or bad? Normally it's bad. So Garuda also came to the same conclusion. Yamaraj is Lord of Death. This is looking at a small baby bird. 2 plus 2, no, not good. So then what it does is, immediately it picks up the bird under its wings, flies to a faraway place, because Garuda is very, very huge, gigantic. Gigantic means size is actually given. We can't even conceive how big it is, how many hundreds of miles big its wings actually spreads. That's how huge. So it goes to a very, 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 very far away planet, places the bird there, flies back, and then sits as if it doesn't know nothing. Have you done that before? Sometimes you take and you sit like that. That's what Garuda does, but this time rather than hiding behind, it picks up the bird, flies to a faraway place, puts it in another planet, comes back and sits. Now Yamaraj comes out of the meeting room. And then he frantically looks for that baby bird. Then Garuda smiles, gives him a cheeky smile, and then Garuda says, are you searching for that small bird? Yamaraj says, yes, did you see that? Then Garuda very smartly says, I know when you went in, I saw you looking at it, and I know definitely that's bad news for the bird. So I've taken this bird and I put it in a very, 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 very far away place. Even you can't go and find it easily. Ha ha. You know what Yamaraj replied? Yamaraj told him, that's exactly what I was thinking. Because when I looked at the small bird, I could clearly read about the karma, and I was thinking, this bird is supposed to die in that planet in a few moments. How is this bird going to make it there? How is it going to go? Like that I was thinking and went in, thank you, you did the job. Many times we think we do things smart, but actually we are simply helplessly being driven by our karma. Karma will actually move us around. It will influence us. Okay, the science of karma is much more deep. I'm just touching the surface. Here, just to give you an idea, general idea is good things. If you do something good, you get something good. If you do something bad, then you are going to get something bad. Understand? Any questions so far in this? So if some bad things happen to good people, it simply means the person has actually done something bad. Currently they are good, but in the past they have done something bad and it is affecting them now. And it may be in the previous life, it may be like 10 years before they might have forgotten. It doesn't matter. Understand? So this is karma. Remember, first lesson Krishna teaches was about soul. You are not the body, you are the soul. Second lesson Krishna teaches is about karma. Now we'll go to the, these two are like a segue to the third one, which is on reincarnation. Umakant, what's your understanding of reincarnation? Rebirth. Okay, if you study the etymological word root, re means what? Normally, repeat. You are doing something again, correct? Incarnation, if you look at the word root, carnal. Daniel, have you come across this word, carnal?
Not really.
Carnal means, it's basically flesh. They say carnal pleasure. For sexual pleasure, you will come across that word in ancient English. So, in means to go in, carnal means, as I said, flesh, that's the word root. Now, if you put them together, in means to enter in the flesh, to enter in the flesh again, that's what it means, reincarnation. Does that make sense? Re means to do something again, in means to enter in, and carnal means flesh. So to again enter into the flesh, that's what reincarnation means. Understand? So reincarnation or rebirth, this is based on our karma. Now you can't explain reincarnation without going through the first two lessons. We need to understand we are not the body, we are the soul. Because when I say it's entering into the flesh again, what is entering into the flesh? It's the soul. Because as I said, going back to the stickman image, body keeps changing but the soul doesn't. At a time when this guy actually dies, body is gone, body is cremated, it is burnt, the soul goes into another body. Can I borrow your Gita? You can take a copy of this Gita. We have some copies. This is the picture. Can you see it? This is called the changing body picture. Can you see this? So there is a baby that is actually born. The baby is actually crawling. The baby is a toddler. It's a teenager. It goes. Now it's like middle age. That's where I am. As I said, I'm on the other side now. And then after some time you grow old. And then you die and your body dwindles. Okay, so this is the changing body picture, and this is the first lesson which Krishna speaks to Arjuna. Okay, so you have all these different bodies, but I'll let you to do in your leisure. But if you look at this image, there is a spark. That's the soul that you see here. Okay, the soul remains the same, but the body keeps on changing. So the soul at the time of death, soul is still fresh, soul is still young, soul is still energetic. There's no death at all for soul. Okay, so we are immortals. At this point, we are just entering into this body for a human experience. That's all. But when I actually grow old, the soul is still fresh because soul is immortal. You know what immortal means? Harish, what does immortal mean? That does not die. Okay. Death is mortality. You know, people say mortality rate. That's like death. Immortal means that which doesn't die. Body is mortal. Okay, if you go to some hospital, you will see mortality ward. They'll keep all the dead bodies actually. Bodies only are there. But the soul is immortal. How do we understand the presence of a soul within a body? In other words, Shiv, tell me what's the difference between a living person and a dead person? Tell me some differences. Moving. I like that. Okay, consciousness is there. Tell me any other symptom, Nibir? Anything else that happens when you are alive but stop happening after you die? Breathing, okay. Anything else? Heartbeat, yes. Anything else? Moving, breathing, heartbeat. Body temperature, yes. I'm looking for something else. Have you seen nails growing for a dead body? Hair growing. Growth also stops. Okay, you can preserve a dead body doesn't grow. It just stays there. Okay, metabolism completely stops as soon as the soul goes out. So scriptures say there is only two symptoms or two differences. Have you seen this image? Spot 6 differences. They keep right next to each other. Like that, between a living person and a dead person, if you see two photos right next to each other, there is only two differences. There is growth and there is consciousness. If a soul is present in a body, there will be growth and there will be consciousness. If a soul moves out of the body, normally, in English they say if a person dies, what do they say? Oh, he passed away. What has passed away? You understand? People may not even understand, but they again, when I say, where are you? I'm here. Nobody has actually told us that the soul. Of course, Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, we are there. But even without it, we all know intuitively, this is where I am. Understand? Like that, when a person dies, we say he passed away or she passed away. People actually say the truth even without realizing. What has passed away? Body is still there. What has passed away, Nibir? Soul has passed away. Atma has passed away. Okay, it has gone out from one body to the other. Now coming back to this, if a soul is present in the body, you can understand it by two symptoms. One is growth and the second is consciousness. If a soul is present in a body, there will be growth. If soul is present in the body, there will be consciousness. Okay. Do you think there is growth in a dead body? No. Do you think there is consciousness in a dead body? No. It's a problem. You beat a dead person, the person looks at you, run away. So there is no growth or consciousness in a dead body. Now let's take this discussion a little further. Do you think animals have soul, Riddhi? Based on these two conditions.
Yes.
Do animals grow? Yes. Do animals have consciousness? Yes. Correct? So animals also have souls. What do you think, Daniel, about plants? Do they have soul?
Yes.
Yes. Do plants grow? Yes. Do plants have consciousness? Yes, they do have. Okay, you saw a seed. In India there was a famous botanist, Jagdish Chandra Bose. He got Nobel after proving plants indeed have life. And there is a whole series of experiments he have done. There is a book called Autobiography of a Yogi. Anyone has read? No. Swami Yogananda. He actually gives elaborate descriptions about his interaction with Jagdish Chandra Bose about the apparatus he has. And if you read that section, he actually says he has actually mapped in his apparatus with the control system. If he takes a knife close to a plant, the plant tissues actually react differently. And he has an apparatus that zooms and he could project and see in the wall. Understand? When he takes poison right next to it, the tissues actually behave differently. So he has proven with a series of experiments. That's how he got the Nobel. So point is, plants also has got growth. Plants also have got consciousness. Plants also have got life. They also have got soul. That's why we should not unnecessarily kill even plants. What to speak of killing animals? Okay, we should not unnecessarily kill. There is a necessity, obviously. There's food we need to eat. We'll come to that in one of the future sessions. Okay, is there karma? Let me throw that question now. Do you think there is karma involved in killing a plant, Harita?
Yes, if it has a soul.
And does it have a soul? Yes. So there is karma, actually. Even when you kill a plant. But not the karma, intensity of that karma is not as strong as when you kill a person or you kill an animal, but there is karma. Sometimes people proudly say, I'm a vegetarian. That doesn't make you any great. You still take karma only. Understand? But there is a way to come out of karma completely. We'll look at it not in the next, but the following one. Okay? Or maybe in the next one. With the way how we are going, we are doing good. Thank you. So, soul has got growth, soul has got consciousness. Based on these two symptoms, we can understand about the presence of the soul. Now, at the time of death, if you remember the picture that I had actually shown you, the body grows, soul is still remaining the same, and at one point, the person will actually die. Now, the soul has to go somewhere. And that process is what we call as reincarnation. Now, the million-dollar question here is, the soul, when it actually leaves the body, what body is it going to take? And what is determining what body it is going to take? The soul, when it comes out, it can take a plant body, it can take an animal body, it can take a reptile body. How many options do you think a soul has as far as the next body is concerned? Nibir, just to throw a wild number. There's no right and wrong answer here. Okay, he said millions. What do you think, Shiv? Okay, let me make your dilemma, a bit more simple. It is in millions. Just to throw a number, how many millions? Okay, pretty close. What do you think, Harish?
8.4.
Someone is going more precise. 8.4. Why not 8.3? Why not 8.6?
I heard somewhere 84
Lakh.
Yeah, 84 lakhs.
Okay. So according to Padma Puran, there are 8.4 million species. And there is a breakdown also that's given. Jalaja Navalakshani Stavara Laksha Vimshati Krimeo Rudra Samkyakaha Pakshinam Dasa Lakshanam Trimsha Lakshani Pashavaha Chatur Lakshani Manushaha. Breakdown is also given. Jalaja Navalakshani. Nava means what? 9. Navalaksha means 9 lakh. Jalaja, aquatics. Jala means water. Jalaja means that which is born out of the water or inside water, living inside. Understand? Jalaja Navalakshani Stavara Laksha Vimshati. It's given like that. So there are 2 million plants, Trimsha Lakshani Pashavaha, 3 million beasts, Chatur Lakshani Manushaha, 4 lakh varieties or 400,000 varieties of humans. That's how many options we have. Normally, if you look at modern science, they divide or they categorize humans or different species based on morphology. Morphology means based on their form and structure. There are vertebrates, invertebrates you come across, those with as backbone, no backbone, those that mollusca, those that are shell covering, like snail, for example, crab, those that don't have snails, so on and so forth. Understand? So they have all these different varieties based on morphology. Morpho means form and structure. We have a doctor here. Morphology. Okay, form and structure, based on the form and structure. But Puranas, they classify all these species based on consciousness. Which means, as humans, it says, Chatur Lakshani Manushaha, 400,000 varieties of humans means, that's how many varieties of men and women there are. Varieties. Okay, it's not only good, bad. That's just a beginning. That's a starter. But if you go down deep, if you want to know how many varieties of people there are, that's how many varieties. Of course, this includes Rakshasas, it includes Devatas, it includes even ghosts. Okay, there is a word that's actually given. Ekapad, Dvipad, Tripad, it's given. And Chaturpad, Chatushpad. Chatushpad is 4-legged animal. Give me an example of 4-legged animal, Harish. Tiger, lion. Okay, 4-legged animal. Dvipad, give an example, Umakant. 2 legs. Bear, 2 legs. Bear also goes 4. Among all the species. Humans, 2. Remember humans? 2. Okay, now let's go for Ekapad and Tripad. Tripad, give example of, do you know example of anything that walks on 3 legs? I was also confused when I came across the term. Then you dig deep, Tripad means the word that is actually given for people who are old when they use the walking stick. Walking stick is also considered as a leg. So Tripad, that word is actually used for denoting old people. Now let's go for something even more interesting. Ekapad. Have you come across any species with only 1 leg? Have you seen Vikramaditya story? Vikramaditya carries a Vedal and then he tells a story, it actually responds back. Have you seen the Vedala, after Vikramaditya actually answers that, Vedala flies back. And then you will see, ghosts are always mentioned like, like a tapering end. I used to wonder, why are they depicting? Actually, Shastras say ghosts means they have only 1 leg. So next time you come across something with 1 leg, run away, So Ekapad is actually used to denote ghosts. So they also come under 400,000 species. In this also there are many, there's Brahma Rakshasa, as I said, there is like Devata, there is, again, humans there are. So many different varieties. They all come under the category of humans only, 400,000 varieties. So when we die, when the soul goes entering into the flesh, which means entering into another body, it can potentially enter into one of those 8.4 million. Okay, now what determines which body I'm going to enter in? Daniel, what do you think? Karma. Okay, now we are marrying everything. There is soul, there is karma, there is reincarnation. Okay, the soul, when it actually leaves the body, the soul has to land into another body, and that process is known as reincarnation. But what determines the coordinates? What determines where the soul should actually land? That depends on the karma which you did in the previous life. Which means, if somebody is born as a human, on one level, they have multiple options. Of course, they can go into one of the 8.4 million species, but broadly speaking, let us say if somebody is born as a human, there is few possibilities. One is the person can be born again as a human. The person can actually glide down again to, let's say, animal life, one of the lower species of life. Possible. The same person can actually reincarnate as one of the demigods above. He can become Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Vayu. Shiva alone, nobody can become. I keep reminding everyone. Sometimes I watch in YouTube movies, they say, Shivoham, we can become Shiva. It doesn't work like that. You can become Brahma, you can become Varuna, Chandra, Vayu, anybody you can become. Shiva, whoever was there originally, it's the same Shiva now. He will always be the Shiva in future also. Nobody can become Shiva. Nobody can become Vishnu. These two are personalities who are there eternal. Okay, Shiva is a spiritual person. Like Vishnu lives in Vaikunta, Shiva lives in Kailash. Kailash is a spiritual world. Okay, Shiva doesn't die. Okay, nobody can become Shiva. When I said that in one yoga class, everyone was very disappointed. Really? We can't become Shiva? Oh, but I love Shiva. I told them you can still go become a servant of Shiva. That's possible. If you want to actually, Shiva is a great devotee of the Lord, you can worship Shiva. Shiva is a spiritual personality. You worship Shiva and then you can go live with Shiva. Oh, that's possible? Yes. So what should I do? Then I tell them, okay, you can chant the mantras, you can chant. Okay, so Shiva nobody can become, but Brahma anybody can become, provided you attain the qualification. Do you want to know the qualification to become Brahma? For 100 lives, you should do your duty perfectly without even doing one mistake. You talk about Mr. Perfect, he's Mr. Perfect multiplied by to the power, 10 to the power 2, he is to the power 2. 100 births, consecutive births, one should do all their duties properly without even missing a beat, without even screwing up even once. How many mistakes do you think you did today? Nibir? Come on, you can be a little humble. Daniel, how many mistakes do you think you did today? Too many. It's countless. Scriptures also say in Kali Yuga, we should not bother counting 2 things. How many incarnations Krishna takes, we should not bother counting. Krishna takes unlimited incarnations. Scriptures also say in Kali Yuga, you should not bother counting how many mistakes people make. You simply can't count. There's no number to it. It just keeps on going exponentially. So becoming Brahma is not impossible, it is possible, but one has to do their duty properly, perfectly, for 100 consecutive births every day in each one of those 100 lives. Okay, so he's Mr. Perfect. If you want to be a creator of this whole 14 planetary system, that's what it takes. Understand? So you can become one of them. So if somebody is a human, if somebody has kind of like a neutral karma, there is positive karma, negative karma, or good karma and bad karma, if they have done almost like same, the resultant is almost like neutral, most likely they'll be born again as humans. Okay, if somebody does more positive karma, more good karma, more punya they have, most likely they will have some elevated birth in higher planetary system. If somebody does very bad things, only too many things, then they lose the human form of life, they glide down into animal life. But even though there is these three options, none of these three options actually gives you permanent happiness. Understand? Let's say you become the next Indra. Have you come across Puranic stories about Indra? Do you think Indra has enemies? All the time. Correct? He goes there, does so much, and Hiranyakashipu chases, Ravana chases, as if that's not enough. Indra sometimes is proud, he gets cursed by, other sages also. In one story, Indra gets cursed to be born as a pig. Then he goes as a pig, he forgets his position as Indra, he has his own pig family, piglets as kids, and he's very happily enjoying. And then Brahma comes asking, hey, what are you doing here? Who are you? Come up, that position is vacant. He says like, no, this is my family. Then Brahma has one kamandalu. He takes water and then sprinkles him, bringing him back to sin. Like, what is that? And then immediately he goes up. So he'll come across Indra also going through difficulty, Chandra also going through difficulty like that. So even though you go to some higher place, you will still have the same difficulty. Just like we are all coming from, India, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bangladesh background. Before coming to Australia, we may think, we go here, everything is going to be hunky-dory. No, there was COVID here, there is COVID here. There is going to be birth, death, old age, disease, wherever you go. Yes, facilities may be slightly different, that's all. Likewise, you go to a higher planetary system, facilities may be a little better, that's all. But you still have to go through the same ordeal you go through here also. Understand? So being born on lower or same or higher, that's not a great achievement. So Krishna gives us one other option, which is what you all did in the beginning. When you chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, what will happen is, rather than going through the same cycle of birth and death in this cycle, you can come out of this and you can go to the spiritual world. And that's what bhakti is about. So bhakti gives you that option. I am speaking about Krishna, you are hearing. So you are doing a spiritual activity. This is good. Before me speaking, you all chanted together. Spiritual activity, good. We have brought some nice prasadam for you, hopefully. So after this, you will be eating. That's also a spiritual activity, understand? So in our lives, if we do some spiritual activity every single day, little by little by little, over a period of time, just like we accrue good karma and bad karma, we accrue spiritual credit also. And when we lead a nice life of being a devotee of Krishna, at the time of death, our soul will not go here or there or remain here. Instead, it will come out, it will kick away the cycle of birth and death, and it will go to the spiritual world. And there it will be with the Supreme Lord forever, where there is only play and there is no work. We can always enjoy with the Supreme Lord. So that's how it's actually given in the scriptures. I'll stop here. Any questions? We can go to your question first. Can you repeat your question again?
When we talk about karma, good or bad, is it absolute or is there a relative thing? Because what is good for somebody might not be good for someone else.
Brilliant question. Who can answer that? If I say that, nobody will answer. Krishna Das. Her question is, whatever activity that we do, is it always in an absolute platform? Because what I think is good for me may be bad for someone else. So how do we understand that? I was waiting to give you the complex question. I haven't forgotten you. I thought, okay, I'll come to you. Mr. Doctor, yes?
Probably, according to Shastras, we should judge what is good and what is bad.
Okay.
If it is in Shastra, then according to Shastra, whatever the law is given, that has to be considered.
Okay. Nibir, what's your take?
Same.
Same as above. Daniel.
Yeah, there has to be law. Like there is a law set by the God. They have to follow this. So whatever is harder doesn't matter. Like you have to follow the rules.
Okay, word of God. Daniel, what's your take?
What is considered good or bad? We have to first look at this.
What is considered good or bad? We have
If
to?
it's good for the body, is it really good? If it's good for the soul, then that is actually good.
Her question is slightly different. Her question is that it's not just about us. What we think is actually good karma for us may be hurting for someone else. Like I'll give you an example, just to elaborate on that. Like if I tell you, generally you hear people like, be a vegetarian, become a vegetarian. Fine. Compared to killing animals and eating that, it's actually better to actually be a vegetarian. So here, even though, that's the point. Even though here it looks like good, you actually feel good by again killing someone else only.
But someone told you that killing plant is less harmful than killing animal.
But it's still harmful. That's her question. So when we say good or bad, is it absolute good or absolute bad? Which means, absolute means nothing is it's in black and white. Perfectly good, there's no bad at all. Is it like that, or is it relatively good or relatively bad? That's her question. So what, I think you answered that. So your take is?
What do you think? What your internal soul?
Okay. Harish, what's your take?
It's always relative.
It's always relative. So scriptures actually give knowledge at different levels. So to answer your question, what we see generally as good karma, bad karma, if you think about it, right? Let us take a step back. I told, as you sow, so shall you reap. If you do something good, what outcome you get? Good. If you do something bad, what outcome you get? You get something bad. Now let me tell you about a scenario, you tell me whether it's good or bad. A person is in human form of life, they did something good. Because of that, they become one of the demigods. Demigods means one of the devatas. Is this good or bad? Again, terms and conditions apply. It depends on what they are going to do there. Okay, sometimes have you come across this situation, let's say you go, you make an ordeal to go and watch a movie, for example. It's raining outside or like, scorching hot, you go there, like, super crowd, you stand in the queue, somehow you get a ticket and you go. And much to your dismay, the movie was a, total dud. You feel like, what is this? Or you go, fight with so many people, get somehow a ticket, go to watch a cricket match, and the team that you support loses. Now at that time, you would actually think, you know what? Actually, my friend, they don't even like the sport. It's much better to be like that. You feel like that sometimes, correct? Or sometimes you think, actually, I shouldn't have even come to this movie at all. I would have been much better off not going to this movie at all. You understand? Likewise, if somebody is in human life, let's say they become demigod, and there the challenges you face is like so much more bigger. The person may still think, actually the challenge here is so much more, situation is so much more worse compared to here. They may think like that. Okay, so point I'm saying is that in material world, there is nothing called absolute good and absolute bad. In everything good, there is a bad mixed. In everything bad also, to a certain extent only, there is some good also mixed. So in order to completely understand what is good or bad, as he said, we need to look at the Shastras. Shastras say clearly, this is good. Otherwise, I'll give an example. If you take a jihadi, somebody who is like bombarding the place, or a suicide bomber, he is convinced within his heart that I'm doing the greatest good for the whole humanity. Now the problem is, except him, nobody else feels so. Okay, so that suits your example. What a person thinks is good for them end up causing so much harm for people around. Okay, so when we think, you have a certain perspective and you think you are actually doing good, and I think I'm actually doing something good. But our ideas need to converge at a certain point. The only point where it can converge, where it can actually have a perfect harmony for everyone is, we need to go to someone who created both of us. Only they can actually think what is best for us. Correct? Sometimes as siblings, we can fight. How many of you have fought with your brothers, sisters when you are young? Thank you for being honest. You haven't?
I don't have brothers.
Oh my God. I asked the wrong person. Okay, so when you actually do that, who will come and like, it's okay. They can pacify somebody who is superior to both of us, who is the well-wisher for both of us, understand? So, if we go with our own perspective, what you said is absolutely right. I will think I'm doing good to people, but I'll end up doing a lot of damage for others. So the best recourse in a situation like that, and for that matter throughout our entire life, is we need to go to a common ground. What you feel, keep it with yourself. What I feel, I keep it with myself. Let's think about what Krishna feels. And let's do something based on what he thinks and he says is best for both of us. Okay, so that's why we need to come to spiritual level. Otherwise, in material level, it's always relative. Like for example, in those days, they didn't have automobiles. Okay, so man, like with the stroke of genius, created automobiles, thinking, oh, I'll actually cut down on the transportation time. But then over a period of time, now people talk about going back to cutting down on fossil fuels and going back to like some green fuel basically. Why? Because in the process of solving one problem, they created another problem. If only that wasn't created, COVID wouldn't have spread so far, agree? So quick. Can you think of anything else which a modern man created, but then ended up doing or causing another problem? Give me an example, Salan. Something which humans have created, which solved one problem, but it created another problem. Okay, you are the most positive person that I've ever come across. Daniel.
Factories.
Factories. How?
You try to industrialize society, we need more resources. But as a result, everyone is suffering.
Exactly.
In the factory.
Yeah.
Lots
Good.
of water.
Sorry, what?
Lots of water.
Lots of water, correct. They say it takes lakhs of liters of water to produce one car, basically. Okay, plastics, for example. Initially, people were using, reusable bags only. And then they said, throw that away, use this and everything. And they produced it so much, and now what? Going back to the roots, and again now they are selling this one. No, cut that down and use this one. With everything you can see like that. Initially, they had indigenous varieties of vegetables. Nowadays, you eat tomato and you eat capsicum, they taste the same. Have you come across that? You don't, seriously, what is this? I went to one program and they gave me pizza in one devotee's home, prasadam pizza. So I took, they asked, how is it? I said, looked, tasted good. Capsicum was good. That's tomato. What tomato? It's tasting like capsicum only. Not much taste difference. Understand? So time actually goes, whatever that humans have created, they solved one problem, but they caused another problem. Okay. So if we go to scriptures always give the absolute good. Something which will be good for everyone, not just for us, not just for others, but for everyone. Okay, any other question? Okay, I'm going to throw now questions at you. Get ready. What? Throw questions? Isn't that what I've been doing all along? Okay, let's go right to left. Harita, what are we? We are not the body, but we are Atman. Okay. How do you say that we are not this body, Umakant? Justify that we are not this body. Harita.
The body keeps changing.
Very important. Body keeps changing. Okay. Our body is like that, then here, then here. We know it. Maybe you didn't understand the question. I didn't frame it right. Okay, I'll give you something easy now. What are the two symptoms of presence of soul in the body?
Growth and consciousness.
Good. Do plants have growth or do plants have soul?
Yes,
Justify.
because they have growth and consciousness.
Consciousness as well. Very good. What is karma? I asked you the same question before. What are the two types of karma?
Good karma and bad karma.
Bad karma. Why do bad things happen to good people?
It's previous karma, like past lives.
Okay, so some karma may actually come instantly, the effect of that. Some, it takes a bit more time. Okay. Shiv, what does reincarnation mean? Taking rebirth. What determines rebirth?
Your soul is leaving one state of mind and changing to another
State. Good. And what determines which species are you going to take birth in?
Your karma defines.
Wonderful. You already know 8.4 million species. Tell me the 3 possibilities for the soul, or 4 possibilities. When the soul leaves, where can it end up landing?
The upper, middle, and the lower.
Okay, explain more.
Upper level is demigods and
When does the soul go there? When it has more good karma or bad karma?
more good karma.
More good karma, okay. When the soul has more bad karma, where does it go?
The lower level, animals,
Animals like that. When it has almost like same,
comes again as a human life.
again as a human life. Is there any way to break this cycle and go to spiritual world?
Yeah, like practicing bhakti yoga.
Okay, practicing bhakti yoga takes us to the spiritual world. Fantastic. I'm very impressed. Any final questions before we go for the prasad? Good.
So, do we have any hands in our like past life? We don't know anything about our past life.
Hmm.
So, like, what can we do now?
Good question. Very good question. So we don't know what we did in the past life. Sometimes you will come across people, they'll keep blaming for whatever, they may do something wrong now, and you ask them, hey, why did you do this? Oh, that's my past karma, like that. You understand? People use karma to justify their own wrong deeds, like that. But I will answer your question by throwing another question, which is easy for me. I don't need to answer. Okay, this is an open question. Daniel, I didn't ask you this. Okay. I didn't finish. I'm coming to you. All tough questions will come to you. See, if my current life is actually determined by my past karma, that means pretty much my current life should be in autopilot mode, right? Nobody should blame me for what I'm doing. It's because of the past karma only that I'm doing what I'm doing. Is it true?
It plays a role. We do have a choice of how we act now, don't we?
Okay. Very good. If you think we have a choice how we act in our current life, then then what's the role of our past karma then? I did something bad. It has to do some effect for me now. And if you say I still have a choice, that means karma is, I'm immune to karma, correct? Then justify or tell me the role of karma versus our choice.
Determines the body I have,
Hmm.
the parents I have,
Hmm.
my intelligence, my strength,
Hmm.
and the choice I have now is what I can do with it.
Fantastic. Karma only creates the situation. You still have the choice. In other words, let us say if somebody has slapped me in previous life, the effect of that person's karma is in this life it will create a situation wherein I can slap that person. Understand? Karma can create the situation only. Now it's totally up to me whether I go with the karma and I actually slap him. What do you think will happen if I slap him now? You understand? Because the person won't know why he is getting slapped. And I'm also now sowing the next seed. Understand? Karma will create the situation always. But it's totally up to us to be completely bound by karma, or I can just reject it, take Bhagavad Gita, and I can just continue. Because if I continue, or if I actually reciprocate in the same way as what he has done, it's going to bind me again. Because now, that person, if the person actually has hit me like this, I end up hitting like this. Understand? Which means I'm authorized to do according to my karma only, to retaliate this much. Have you come across sometimes? People who you hate, when they actually do mistake, thank you, Krishna. So you will actually go, you do something. Okay, so karma can create the situation only. We still have intelligence. We still have our consciousness with which we can do. In fact, if you want precise answers, Kunti Maharani? Who knows Kunti Maharani? Who is Kunti?
Mother of Pandavas.
3 people putting the hand up and 1 person is answering, even putting the hand up. Come on. If I ask you, call your name, you answer then. If it's open, I'll tell you open. Okay, so Kunti Maharani, she says 4 things are determined by birth. Take a guess. Tell me one thing that's predetermined. Like when you're born, it's already there. It's just a guess.
The way you do keeps changing.
Yes, but tell me something which you think is predetermined, like, based on astrological chart. That's how they do. They find out what time you are born. Based on that, they predict what your past karma is and what you are supposed to do. But Kunti Maharani says there are 4 things that are already predetermined even before you are born. The looks. Okay, that's one thing she says. Once again, so in Sanskrit, that look is Shri. The word Shri is used. Okay. Second is parents. Janma it's given. What family you are going to be born, predetermined. How many of you here think you chose your family? Definitely not. If you choose your family, again, it's a problem. Just like a dead man, you beat. No, I bet a dead person. He has consciousness. Don't come to me, be better run away from him. Understand? So, one is Janma, predetermined, what family we are born. Our personality. Okay, how we look, how we behave. At least the basic template comes from past karma. Now, how you act, you still have the choice. That's a different story. It's predetermined. Your looks, predetermined. We didn't choose this. Okay, how many of you think, wow, I love this choice. Whenever I look at the mirror, I couldn't have chosen, anything better. Definitely not. You know what? Why is my nose a bit more longer? Why is my hair falling? But people who are fat, they think, why am I so fat? People who are thin, they think, why am I looking so slim? Okay, so 2 things we said. One is the looks. Second is what family we are born. Anything else? Put the hand up. I know you know the answer, so I'm not going to ask you. Anything else you think is predetermined at the time of your birth? Okay, I take that. When you die, that's also there. Interestingly, scriptures say, normally when we measure a person's lifespan, right, we measure it based on number of years. Correct? Person lived 60 years, 70 years, 80 years, like that. But according to scriptures, specifically according to Ayurveda, your life is measured not based on number of years, but it is measured based on how many breaths you can take. Inhalation and exhalation. Remember this. If I forget to cover this in the next class, remind me. I'll touch it when we come to Hatha Yoga next week. Very interesting topics. Actually, Bhagavad Gita is like, wow. People sometimes ask, so you know everything about it? Nobody can say they know everything about Bhagavad Gita. But it's so interesting and exciting. Every single time you share. I've said this probably like 200, 300 times. But because the knowledge is fresh, it's Krishna's, you never feel bored, actually. Your lifespan is measured based on how many breaths. Like what you said, predetermined. Which means when you're born, your quota, according to your karma, will be you can take 2 lakh breaths or 20 lakh breaths, for example. Now, how soon you do take that, how quick you take that, that's what's going to determine the number of years you are going to live. So your life is not measured based on number of years. If you lead an unhealthy lifestyle and you didn't use the breathing pattern properly, you will die soon. That's why in Vedic times, sages, have you seen? I used to, we watch movies, whenever we think about a rishi, what do we think? Some, jata there, somebody sitting here, holding a stick, there's a handrest there, having a beats, and then they'll say, oh, I used to say, why are they saying so, such a long time? They are using every breath for such a long time. What do you think it will do to them? It will expand their lifespan naturally. Because they are taking the normal time you take for your inhalation and exhalation, by extending the duration of the breath, they are naturally extending the duration of their life. How many of you understand this point? Okay, we'll cover this again next week. But anyway, so Janma is predetermined, our looks, beauty is predetermined, Shruta, how intelligent we'll be there. That intelligence is actually Shruta, education, predetermined. And Shri B, Janma, Aishwarya also. 4 things, Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. This is Kunti Maharani's prayers in Bhagavata Purana. One's parentage or one's lineage, birth is predetermined. What family you are going to be born. Janma, Aishwarya, how much wealth you will get, predetermined. Now I expect a question there. We'll come to that later. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, how beautiful you will look, predetermined. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, how, or Shruta is education rather, how intelligent you will be, predetermined. Okay, there is a certain level of intelligence which your karma brings naturally. Even little kids, you will see some people, they'll be like, even in kindergarten, you'll see the difference. And you'll wonder, like, why are they like this? Why am I actually hating? How many of you remember going to your kindergarten classes? Hey, you don't? I do. Little bit, you remember? Okay, so like that. So these 4 things, Kunti Maharani says, are predetermined. Janma, Aishwarya, Shruta, Shri. Birth, wealth, Shruta, your education, as well as Shri, your looks. These 4 are predetermined based on your karma. Interesting topics. Thank you very much for your wonderful participation. We just started this program 2 weeks ago. And by the way, I hope all of you are part of the WhatsApp group. Everyone. We are going for a retreat for 3 days in Easter weekend next year. So please do register. The spots are limited. We have, I think, 7 youth groups now. So we are getting the participants from different youth groups together. So during those 3 days, we'll actually be doing many different spiritual activities actually. So in a year, we have retreats twice. One during the Easter weekend, which is in April, and another time it happens in October. Okay, so twice we get as much as possible, take advantage of that, make use of that opportunity to come together and do. I have actually posted the registration details there. The fee for 3 days is $120. That includes your accommodation, includes your food, includes your transportation from and to the station, Penrith station. So you have to come to Penrith station if you're not driving yourself. Penrith. Okay, so
Why not Port City?
no, we don't have accommodation here. So we want to have a place where there's an accommodation facility. So this is run by a retreat center, Christian retreat center. So we go there. We have hired there before also. Okay, so we do there. We do other activities as well. Like, we teach people pranayama, so many different things. Okay, we'll share the details more. But please do register because I think we are open for about like 65 registrations. More than half is taken already. So I'll post a reminder again. Please do. If you have trouble at this point of time to pay the fee, which is $120, please do let me know. Send me a message. I'm the only guy posting there. Nobody else can post. So you have my number. So you can respond back. I'll register you. You can pay later also. That's not a problem. Before the retreat, of course. But we kept it as nominal as possible. When we divided it per head, it came to $147 per head. But remaining 27, I got some of the alumni of the youth group to sponsor. So we keep it. We won't go beyond this. This is like the max $120. Last time it was 100, but this time we are going 3 days actually. So that's why. Okay, as I said, it includes, I think, 7 meals or 8 meals also, and your sessions and accommodation. So it's very nominal. It's not much. Okay, thank you very much. Prasadam is waiting. And if you want to take beads and bead bag, you can take. I think that's $5, and Bhagavad Gita is $10. Normally we sell it more, but for youth, again, we got the sponsors. It's subsidized. We still want to put some value there. Otherwise, if you give it for free, nobody will actually take it seriously. So we still want to charge, and that's the reason it's still nominal. Okay, thank you very much, and we'll see you next Saturday.